Welcome to the Flash Finds podcast, the world's fastest podcast where we explore how Facebook can help you with the stuff you're into. I'm Emma Rogue, joined by Nathan the Cat Lady, a Facebook creator. So Nathan, if you're into pets, what kind of stuff can you find on Facebook?
Well, I make reels about useful tips for pet owners. For instance, cats don't like still water, so all of my cats have cat fountains.
Oh my gosh, that's so cute. What a great episode. See you next time on the Flash Finds podcast, all about discovering the stuff on Facebook you care about. Bye.
My fellow Americans, in life there's truth, and tragically there are lies. Lies conceived and spread for profit and power. We must be absolutely clear about what is true and what is a lie. And here's the truth. The former President of the United States of America has created and spread a web of lies about the 2020 election. He's done so because he values power over principle, because he sees his own interest as more important than his country's interest, than America's interest, and because his bruised ego matters more to him than our democracy or our Constitution. He can't accept he lost, even though that's what 93 United States senators, his own attorney general, his own vice president, governors and state officials in every battleground state have all said. He lost. That's what 81 million of you did as you voted for a new way forward. He has done what no president in American history, the history of this country, has ever done. He refused the
times are better under Joe than Donald. After hearing that, I laughed. I had to laugh.
Against it, trying to uphold the principle of that party. Too many others are transforming that party into something else.
But what about all the broken promises
no
that you made?
What
about all the promises that you made in your basement there
Reagan,
in Wilmington,
Bush.
Delaware? Are you delivering for the American people?
Whatever my
That's
other
what I'd like to know,
disagreements
Joe.
are with Republicans who support the rule of law and not the rule of a single man, I will always seek to work together.
Ain't nobody gonna tell me how to live.
So at this moment, you must decide, what kind of nation are we going to be? Are we going to be a nation that accepts political violence as a norm? Are we going to be a nation where we allow partisan election officials to overturn
A few moments later.
Are we going to be a nation that lives not by the light of the truth, but the shadow of lies? We cannot allow ourselves to be that kind of nation. The way forward to recognize the truth, to live by it. The big lie being told by the former president and many Republicans who fear his wrath is that the insurrection in this country actually took place on Election Day, November 3rd, 2020. Think about it. Is that what you thought? Is that what you thought when you voted that day? Taking part in an insurrection? Is that what you thought you were doing? Or did you think you were carrying out your highest duty as a citizen and voting? Former president's supporters are trying to rewrite history. They want you to see Election Day as the day of insurrection. And the riot that took place here on January 6th as a true expression of the will of the people. Can you think of a more twisted way to look at this country, to look at America? I cannot.
Heard of Rumble.com? It's like YouTube, but without big tech censorship. I'm over there at Rumble.com now, and you should be too.
Broadcasting from the Big Peach of Atlanta, Georgia. A show unfiltered, unscripted, raw. the Patriot Angle Podcast.
Alrighty, guys, welcome to the show. We're playing around with some graphics the last couple weeks. Hope you guys like it. We're always trying to give a new, fresh look to the show. We got Joseph M. Leonard, the author of Terror Strikes, coming to a city near you, joining us again, talking, just what the hell is wrong with Joe. Joe is literally, as you can see in the intro here, we played a little intro here with some sound effects. Joe isn't there. I had on the show last week falling off of a fucking mountain bike in Wilmington, Delaware. But no, Joe is okay. He's powerful Joe. Guys, we're going to bring in Joseph M. Leonard here into the show. How are you doing, Joseph? Welcome to today's show.
Are we on now? Whenever I hear Joe, yeah. I kind of fall asleep. So.
Oh, okay.
So I dozed off on you there.
Oh, it's okay. It's okay. I hope we weren't boring you.
Yeah, I got no, Joe does, though. I got my Let's Go Brandon shirt on today.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. Yeah, let's go Brandon, right? Are we still allowed to type of shirts without, getting attacked by the mainstream media?
Well...
But
it's certainly frowned upon, isn't it? Yeah, it's one of the many things they want to censor. But we still have a few freedoms left if we're able to hang on to them. Like Benjamin Franklin said, a republic if you can keep it. Well, we're in them dying embers of the last stages of whether or not we are going to keep it or not. And it's incumbent on each and every damn person out there to get up and do more than they've ever done before to fight. No one can sit on the couch.
Yeah.
It's a shame that like 40% of all Christians in the United States are not even registered to vote. If you know any of these people and they tell you, oh, well, my vote doesn't matter, smack them for me and make sure you drag them, put the form in front of them to get them to register to vote. And if you have to, go to their house, drag them out of the house into the car on election day to make sure they go vote, because we have to vote in such overwhelming numbers. And if the 40% of Christians, most of whom would be conservative constitutionalists, actually were registered and vote in such overwhelming numbers that no amount of their attempts to cheat would matter in most places. In the purple states especially, where we really got to watch. Blue states are long lost. There's little we could do. But, you can't take the attitude, my vote doesn't count. There it is. I mean, if you don't understand this, I don't know what to say.
Joseph, we only have one more shot at this. Literally one more shot. Everybody thought, it was all fun and games. Trump was doing this for a political bumper sticker. Oh, we got to save America. No, literally. Folks, we have to save America. I mean, our democracy is literally on thin ice, so to speak. I mean, if we don't come to save it, Joseph, that's the end of our country.
Well, I want to stop you because you said democracy. I don't want to hear that shit. We are a constitutional representative republic, not a democracy. We've let the left twist the language. We are not a mobocracy. Our founders never intended to give us a democracy. We have democratically elected undertones that we elect local representatives to represent us, but that we are a constitutional representative republic, not a mobocracy, not an ineptocracy, none of those things. And we have to watch our verbiage. We've got to watch our language because the left has been twisting language for far so long, and we've conceded too much ground. We let them get away with that. And just by second nature, yourself called us a democracy, which we are not.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry. I do have to make a correction. We aren't a democracy. The founders never had that in place. I think sometimes, I get a little ahead of myself, but yeah, yes, Joseph, absolutely. I do agree with you, pal.
We are becoming more and more like a democracy, unfortunately, and the 17th Amendment is one of those that needs to be repealed. The U.S. Senate was never meant to be a democratically directly elected body. It was meant to be senators appointed by state legislatures to represent the 10th Amendment and your state's rights. The 17th
Well, we were also designed, too, to be independent each state was supposed to be designed for independence, their own independence. That's where the states originally how it was formulated into this country, right? It was formulated through the 13 original colonies, the 13 colonies that were literally if you want to say it, Joseph, maybe like a broken type of a how can you say it? Of colonists coming from, the UK and Great Britain and stuff like that. That's how America was designed. We were escaping oppression from Great Britain and England and everything else. So we were designed for that independence. And then eventually that's where the 50 states of America came into play. But I understand what you're saying.
And it's important to remember because and younger people don't know this because they don't learn it in school. They're busy being taught radicalism and raunch rather than reading, writing, arithmetic, and history and civics. The colonies created the federal government. The federal government has always intended to be subservient to the states, not the other way around like we have today.
Right. Yeah, it's our country's a little backwards, very, very backwards. I actually have a sound clip here. I'm going to plug in a little bit from John Vaught. If everybody knows who he is, he's a very conservative celebrity. Has been in a lot of tremendous award-winning movies. I mean, he actually played a fictional president at one time in one of his movies. But he's a phenomenal individual. He's saying, Joseph, that this president has done so much damage to our country. He's done America so wrong in so many ways, extreme ways, where he's literally turning our neighbors against each other. Whether it's, through this stupid fucking abortion crap or, Roe v. Wade or, everything. Everybody is like literally going back and forth with one another. And he said, it's time to invoke the 25th on Joe. Joe Biden has to go,
And literally the Supreme Court on Roe, and I released a press release just last week, I think it was, regarding the Roe v. Wade overturn ruling, because I predicted that would happen in my book, Terror Strikes, coming soon to a city near you, because it's not just about foreign terrorists, it's about domestic fascocrats who hate America, terrorists too. And terrorism on the unborn in the womb is part of that. So I predicted this day would come. So did Ruth Bader Ginsburg. So last week I issued a statement on that, and I'll be issuing a statement later this week regarding the January 6th farce hearings. But Joe Biden, as a second-term senator from Delaware in 1984, said he wanted to create a constitutional amendment that would have overturned Roe and returned it to the states. Fast forward to now. The Supreme Court did exactly what he said he wanted. And now, of course, he's all up in arms that we can't have that. We can't have states' rights. We can't eliminate this pretend right of privacy to murder an unborn child. That doesn't exist in the Constitution. And again, Ruth Bader Ginsburg knew that too. University of Chicago, you could still find on YouTube her speech where she said Roe was a bad ruling and would be overturned. It was just a matter of time.
I mean, this guy here, you could see in the graphics here, guys, if you're tuning in here on Twitch and Rumble and stuff like that. I mean, Joseph, this guy literally, I'm sure he means well as an individual, but as a leader, he's not there. He's literally letting other bureaucrats, other people in the Democratic Party, Independent Party, liberal, fascocrats, if you want to call them. I mean, literally run our country. Our freedoms every single day, folks, is being stripped away. Literally. I mean, I'm going to say it right here. Are we losing our freedoms in 2022? I think they're, in the beginning of that phase.
Well, that's a double-edged sword. Thankfully, and thanks to Donald J. Trump, the 45th president of the United States, putting the Supreme Court justices he did on the court. And while I don't agree with everything they've done, Kavanaugh and Gorsuch have a couple times sided with the liberal activists on the courts on some other rulings. But the key rulings of preserving our freedoms and returning to the Constitution, they've got right lately. Overturning the New York gun restrictions, Roe v. Wade, the Kavanaugh freedom of religion issue. So are we losing them? On the one hand, they are certainly trying to take them. On the other hand, we finally have a Supreme Court that is Constitution-based for the most part, and at least slowing our ride towards the edge of the cliff.
But why are they doing this? Like, I just don't understand. Like, what's the reason behind this, Joseph? Why do they want to remove our freedoms and our liberties in this country? The founders worked so hard to try to preserve in the very beginning. Why do they want to do this to us? Like, why would they do this to their own country? It doesn't make sense.
Well, a tyrant likes power, and he wants more power always. And that's what it is. It's either a lust for power or a lust for money, like Biden. And let's not leave out some rhinos like Mitt Romney. I'm here in Michigan. We have Representative Peter Meyer now, who's likely on his way out. Before him, there was Justin Amash. A lot of people know that name. They liked him because he was really a libertarian that ran as a Republican.
Yeah.
He resigned in a scandal because he has firms that he's invested in China. So it's either the lust for power or the lust for money, and they sell us out to China.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, literally, if you want to say who's really run this country, I mean, you could look at countries like China or hell, even Russia. I think Russia has a lot of ties to our. I know they have a lot of ties to our elections. They meddle with our elections like crazy.
Well, they meddle in a lot of elections. China does too. Yeah. But let's be fair and honest, we do too. The CIA tries to meddle in other, It's funny, though. The CIA tries to meddle in other communist nations' elections to undermine them, while at the same time, tyrants here in the United States, the fascocrats, are undermining our own elections.
Yeah. They truly are fascocrats. I mean, I don't think that word was just made up in the last 5-10 minutes here on the show. I mean, truly, Joseph, they are fascocrats because you get people like this that you just mentioned here a few moments ago here. on the show with this abortion crap. I mean, we're dealing with the abortion crap. People are like, oh, it's terrible. Like, what? They've been doing this shit since the 70s. Why you come on? Smell the coffee already. You know, you got these people, these sick nut jobs here of manicured vasectomies. They want a mandatory, they want to mandate vasectomies. They want to have it mandatory, where they now think, Joseph, that life begins at ejaculation. I mean, this is the sick shit that we see in America today.
Yeah. And it's all a lot of it's distraction and deflection to keep your eye off the ball about Bidenflation and destroying our American energy independence, which we finally were under Trump. The rising gas prices, which is a big part of driving the Bidenflation and the running up of all our food costs and everything else, because you have to ship it around. You're not going to ship that around on electric trucks. But fascocrats is a term I coined about 10 years ago. And it's not hyperbole, my friends. I've got an article, tinyurl.com/fascocrats, that lays out the DNC platform has 28 planks from the Nazi Party, National Socialist Deutschland Arbeiter Party platform in their platform. It's why they go around calling everybody else a Nazi. It's projection. Accuse everyone else of what you are. Again, it's not hyperbole. Look it up. DuckDuckGo search the Communist Manifesto, the Republican platform, the Democrat platform, and the Nazi Party platform, and you will see all those similarities with the Democrats, the Communists, and the Nazis. And you will see the Republican platform. Again, Republicans aren't perfect. There's a whole lot of bad rhinos, so I'm not saying that. Don't get me wrong. But the Republican platform is sound and solid. We just need candidates that adhere to the platform and the Constitution.
Well, this is the old image, right? When during the Civil War, when we had the Confederate Army and the Union Army, literally, You know?
That image there would be from the Revolution. That's a red coat.
Well, excuse me. Back. Come on, Mike. Let's get it together. Yes, you got the red. The red coats and that was going. Ooh. Come on, Mike. Smell the coffee.
We all have.
That was the old image. Yeah, that was the old image of America, Joseph. We got this new image coming in, and I think this is truly the new of America. Literally, we're becoming the political prisoner. You're going to soon see this, folks, and I'm not trying to scare you or become some kind of I'm a conspiracy theorist. No, I'm not. No, this is going to be the hat tip to you, Dan Bongino. I know you love plugging that little sound effect, but that's going to be the new symbol sooner or later. With the American flag bandana over somebody's face, because that's where we're going. We're losing our freedoms, Joseph. It's scary.
Yeah.
I don't even want to know what 2024 is going to bring. That's, fucking 2 years away. I mean, it's going to be scary. It's going to be scary. Like, is Joe Biden going to get the re-election? Is he going to be still in charge of the helm? You know what I mean? Of the country? Shit, I hope not. If I don't even know if he's going to be alive in 2 years. I mean, we even might have Kamala Harris as the damn president.
Yeah. Well, don't let Michael Gardner fool you folks out there. This is really Alex Jones in a mask. Since you mentioned conspiracy, I had to throw that joke in there, but you kind of had
Alex
a brain.
Jones, I mean, hell, you could even throw in Dr. Michael Savage. I mean, I could see a lot of Savage coming out of Joseph M. Leonard here on the show today. I mean, his book, Terror Strikes, coming to a city near you. There's a lot of content in there, Joseph, that resembles a lot of the books of Dr. Savage that he wrote. Everything coming to life. It's coming true. It's not just a book that Joseph wrote up one day in his library at his house and says, this is going to sell. No. This is actually stuff that's happening. Stuff that, you, my friend, sir, predicted and now is happening. It could be also a book to warn the American people out there that, hey, there can be a side where we could turn all this around if we elect the correct leadership.
Exactly. Well, you kind of had a brain fart on the red coat thing, and, we all occasionally have brain farts. So I want to share a 4th of July story, kind of a brain fart that I had. Because I'm sure you can imagine, there's only 2 things in my life that take my frontal cortex. It is anything to do with my sister or then obviously my book. So I get up today at 8 a.m., knowing, of course, it's the 4th of July. I mean, we've only been preparing for it, been shooting off fireworks in the street all weekend. But around 10:30, I decided, hey, I'm going to go get a grilled cheese at one of the family-owned restaurants downtown Wyandotte where I live. So I get in the car, start driving down there, but to show you again, everybody can have a brain fart, and occasionally we forget what day it is. And for some reason, I became oblivious, and I got closer to downtown and started thinking, why are all these cars parked all along the streets? And I get closer to Biddle, and I see the orange, sawhorses blocking off Biddle. And I said, no problem. I'm turning down First Street anyway. And I get there, and why are all these cars here? And luckily, a miracle, there was one parking space open. So I got that. Still oblivious. I walk into the restaurant, get halfway up to the front counter, finally look out the window and see all the people lined up in the 4th of July parade going by. It had completely left my brain that the parade would have been going on. Otherwise, I wouldn't have gone up there to fight all that traffic and people. But, it just goes to show, we're all susceptible to occasional brain malfunctions and forgetfulness.
Yeah. I want to plug in this one video here of John Vaught. Like I said, guys, bear with me. I'm terrible how to pronounce. My pronunciation is sometimes not there with last names. It's hard, to get the last name correctly. Voight, that's it. Yeah. John Voight came out with this here. What's that, Joseph?
He is the dad of, what the heck's her face that played in Tomb Raider. I could picture in my head.
Angelina Jolie.
Yeah.
Yeah,
John
a lot
Voight
of people don't know that because the last name is very different. Yeah, you wouldn't think, like Jolie, Voight, it's 2 different last names. But yes, he is the father of Angelina Jolie. Tremendous actor. This is what his warning is here for America, guys. Check this out.
Let's protect this nation and bring back safety. We're all feeling very unsafe. We're all angry. And let's remember why. It starts with the seat of the President of the United States. He has wronged this nation's glory. He has taken down our morals, our true gift of the land of the free. He must be impeached. We cannot wait another second having him dictate our path. Let us work together, get him out, and make this country what she stands for: greatness, the land of opportunity, the land of the greatest soil our forefathers fought for. Don't let this President Biden tear down every inch that was sacrificed with blood, sweat, and tears for his dictation of lies. I urge all to see truths. I urge all to make a difference for our children's future, our future, because, my fellow Americans, this land is being broken down. But we, as a nation of God's truths, shall build her up once again and bring her to her feet with glory.
That was actor John Voight there, calling for Joe Biden's impeachment. The Academy Award-winning actor and father to Angelina Jolie took to Twitter to post a video where he gave his thoughts on the situation America is in. He begins by discussing rising crime in the United States, calling for action on the country's safety. My dear friends, we're all saddened by so much turmoil that has been brought upon this life we live. Can this darkness be lifted? Can we all share joy once again and see eye to eye? We have a troubled nation with much horror from these criminals that are ruining lives. We must stop this now. We must bring back our nation's safety. Our police must act with righteousness and guard our neighbourhoods, our businesses, our children, our elderly, our veterans and our handicapped. We must protect this nation and bring back safety. We're all feeling very unsafe. Jon Voight.
Yeah,
hat tip over to Sky News. Yeah, thank you very much for Sky News putting that tremendous presentation of Jon Voight.
Yeah, they too mentioned Angelina Jolie, and I just wanted to add one last thing on that. How could someone like her become such a left-wing nut job and so clueless, having a patriot like Jon Voight as her father? I
don't know
who her mother was.
Yeah, you would think, Joseph, that, such a patriotic conservative celebrity, which is very rare in, Hollywood today, that shows his patriotic views and love and passion for this great country. You would think she would follow the same footsteps as her father. You would also think by following that, Joseph, that it would be a good path for future opportunities her way, right? You would think. Yeah. But now she wants to be a leftist. She wants to be on shows like ABC's The Liberal View and other nut job crazy shows that show just chaos, people speaking.
It's weak individuals. Hollywood has gone, Senator Joe McCarthy was absolutely right in his protestations and warnings about Hollywood and education being taken over by the communists. He was spot on. And you could see that in Hollywood today. And a lot of these people just are mindless, weak people. They go there, they want to be movie stars, so they just blend. They're like Jell-O. They allow themselves to be molded to this anti-American manure that gets peddled out of Hollywood. And that's one reason I saw Top Gun 4 times already. That's the reason why Top Gun is over $1 billion in revenue already, even being banned in China. That's because it's the first film in a decade that's positive, pro-America. And people are tired of all this woke crap in these movies.
And the timing is perfect. It came right before 4th of July weekend, Tom Cruise, he was like, I got to get this fucking movie in production. 4th of July is coming up. We got to get this rolling, fellas. Let's go,
Well, it's actually been in the can for more than 2 years.
Yeah, it's been in the making, that they had to write out the screenplay and all that. Yeah.
I mean, the film literally was made 2.5 years ago.
Yeah, then prior to that,
to be released because of COVID.
Yeah, because of COVID, but the original screenplay that goes back to 2018, 2017, maybe 2019.
No, decades ago. Yeah, that was. I forget what year the original Top Gun was. I think it was the 1980s.
Yeah, it was like in the early mid 80s. Yeah. But you're talking about celebrities. Did you see the latest debauchery of Matthew McConaughey in the White House a few weeks ago? Oh my God! I thought this guy was conservative. What happened, Matthew? You sold out, buddy.
Yeah.
You're bending the knee to the Biden administration. Don't get me wrong, he's a tremendous actor. I mean, he's very well known for his drama roles and dramatic scenes and everything. But, I mean, literally,
he has some really good movies. And a Matthew McConaughey movie, and he's always been kind of a moderate, never really a conservative.
Yeah.
But the Free State of Jones, I highly recommend people see that movie. It's about the Civil War and post-Civil War.
Yeah.
He actually made a film about slaveholder Democrats and how they formed the KKK and oppressed blacks even after we freed the slaves. So he's always been a center, maybe a
well. He's from that. He's originally from that area. Like Mississippi, Louisiana. So I mean, he could probably understand how the culture how it was back then and everything else. But I mean, I don't know. I clip man in the White House, and I'm like, Matthew, come on. I thought you were more conservative than that.
Yeah,
I didn't know he was that moderate, like you said.
He threw away any chance of a political career now. He was making gestations towards potentially running for Texas governor, but that's dead now. He's got no chance after this latest bull. Republicans would have supported him as a Democrat before this maneuver happened. He probably wouldn't have been able to win Texas for governor, but he might have been able to win in a purplish or a blue state with Republican support for an office until his latest garbage.
Speaking of Republicans, Joseph, did you see the latest? I don't know. I don't know if this is just like a mainstream media type of narrative where they're trying to throw the fuel in the fire to see what they can do with it as a selling point, a talking point. But I've been noticing a lot some Republicans that were kind of backing Trump on a lot of different agendas and messaging and stuff like that in the last few years. They're literally turning their backs on Trump. Are you seeing that?
Yeah, quite a few are. This election cycle, though, there are a lot of pro-MAGA candidates, which is good. And, Trump has endorsed a lot of them. Unfortunately, his track record of endorsement isn't perfect, though, either. But, who's perfect? Nobody's perfect. There's things I don't like about Trump, but Trump was a great president. And we do need pro-MAGA, America first, not America alone or America only, but America first candidates. Because like here in Michigan, he endorsed an attorney general candidate who's under investigation, and they're going to make big hay about his campaign finance law violations. And he was billing clients for hours not, trying to collect for hours that he didn't put in.
Is that going to help out a little bit with the election that happened back in 2020? I mean, is there going to be a little bit more investigation into that? You think or no?
I doubt it. I really doubt it. We need this cycle to get more pro-MAGA candidates who are prone to then insist on laws changed. The big issue there was 2020.
Yeah.
The laws weren't changed. The laws were just ignored.
I don't know. Are they talking about mail-in ballots for the midterms there or no? Primaries or?
I've not heard it here yet.
Okay.
But I suspect again the 6 main purple states. If they have any chance of keeping the House, they will need a midterm variant so they can do the same mail-in ballot fraud and like Dinesh D'Souza's 2,000 mules. I call it 2,000 mules and one whale.
Well,
Stacey
I mean, they
Abrams being the whale.
They use the COVID they use the COVID shit for the mail-in ballots. I mean, what are they going to use now? What's their excuse for 2024? They're going to have to come up. I know they're literally brewing something up in Washington for another pandemic. They're literally trying to see what they can do.
Monkeypox.
I think it's going to be monkeypox, but slowly by slowly, we're seeing monkeypox go out the window. It's not as strong of a presence that COVID was. COVID was a strong presence.
Right.
Whoever thought up of that pandemic, that it was a fucking genius. I know it was Dr. Fauci and the other bureaucrats and turncoats up there in Washington. But I mean, I know, Joseph, I know that they're brewing something up.
Yeah.
We just don't know when it's going to come out. That's the same thing that happened with COVID. We didn't know when they were going to release COVID, but it goes back to Dr. Fauci funding the Wuhan line back in, 2019, 2018?
Yeah.
Hell, I think it even goes back to 2017, 16.
Yeah.
Right around when Trump came into power,
Yeah.
So
yeah, the monkeypox narrative is kind of falling apart. I think they were hoping that would be the next big thing. The problem is not enough people are getting sick because the problem is it is the 2022 version of the 1980s AIDS epidemic. You really only get through monkeypox through deviant sex. So it's only affecting a certain sector of communities, and, you know, heaven forbid, you can't talk about that. You can't be honest that it's the new AIDS.
Well, monkeys, I mean, let's you want to talk scientific. I mean, monkeys, they have different chromosomes and different, the regular human anatomy doesn't have. It's I don't know. I mean, we heard in the 80s, Joseph, where, you know, we heard in the 80s that Dr. Fauci was trying to. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
They know that there's a red wave coming for this election. So they will try to do some things to save as many seats as they can. But their main focus will be trying to save the White House in 2024, and then the election fraud helping them regain the House again in 2024 down ballot through that. So I think this year with a red wave, we're pretty safe. But again, 40% of Christians aren't registered to vote. You've got to register. You've got to vote. They're going to still cheat. They're going to cheat. We have to vote in overwhelming numbers so that cheating only affects small areas. Your vote does count.
If our vote counts and they're going to cheat, how the hell can we, Joseph? If our vote counts and they're going to cheat when we know 90% of the time they're going to, how the hell do we secure the 2024 election? How do we make it fair and honest?
That again comes down to this red wave and us getting candidates that will insist on securing the 2024 election and making sure there aren't any of the shenanigans. And again, it's not that some laws were changed. It's that they weren't enforced. Michigan and Pennsylvania and Wisconsin sent out mail-in ballots to everybody in violation of the law. They did not have authority to do that. They did it anyway. And these states, and that's just the crux of the Texas lawsuit versus the battleground states that the SCOTUS should have heard. They sued to have the 6 battleground states overturned because Texas and South Dakota and Florida, all their votes were disenfranchised by the 6 states that violated their own laws. Their electoral votes should have been tossed. And there's precedent for it. Judges have tossed elections where there have been fraud and ordered a new election. We literally should have had new elections in the 6 battleground states under the existing law, within the rule of law, and we wouldn't have lost. And again, we got to vote in such large numbers that they can't cheat.
Well, I can tell you,
but it won't.
Yeah,
matter.
they're going to cheat. They're going to cheat. But you guys got to see this. Maybe this will help to see what's going on. Joseph, I mean, the Republican Party, it's strong. Don't get me wrong, but there is some type of weak link, so to speak. There is out, guys.
Is Donald Trump finished? Staunch Republicans at the Reagan Library gave a standing ovation to his outspoken critic Liz Cheney after a speech calling on the party to make a choice.
Republicans cannot both be loyal to Donald Trump and loyal to the Constitution.
The conservative Washington Examiner newspaper is also turning against Trump, calling him unfit to be anywhere near power ever again. And an editorial in the conservative New York Post shocked Republican circles by declaring Trump unworthy for the office and delusional. But Senator Lindsey Graham, who just finished playing a round of golf with Trump, tells Fox News, don't count the former president out. He might run in 2024.
I talked to President Trump today, and he's very worried about his country. And stay tuned. I think he is on the verge of making a decision here. I'll leave it up to him.
Trump is turning his wrath on 26.
Yeah, you cut it. You cut it just before this latest fraud at the January 6th hearing. That dimwit.
I cut it. I cut it on purpose. I did that for a reason because I want to let people say, whoa, what's going on? You know?
Yeah, that dimwit engaged in hearsay or outright lies. We don't know which is true, but the Secret Service has already said all of her testimony was bull. It's complete bull. But they won't bring those Secret Service agents in to rebut her testimony.
You're talking about Liz Cheney, right?
No, I'm talking about the black-haired Hutchison, I think it was.
Yeah, Hutchison. Okay, because they also had Liz Cheney testify too, and basically said, as you could hear it, folks, that if we cannot have the Republican Party place their faith and their oath on Donald Trump, it has to be put on the Constitution. I don't think anybody's doing that, Joseph. I think they just support this man because he's actually fighting for fucking America, right? I mean,
Yeah, Liz Cheney has prostituted herself to the left yet again. I don't understand I guess she has Trump derangement syndrome because Trump is not a big fan of her daddy. It's like I can understand family over others at times, but this woman has completely lost it. And these lies that they're telling.
She's a turncoat, Joseph. She's a turncoat. Yeah.
Yeah, it's in violation of the Sixth Amendment. Yeah. We're not able to rebut these things. And like I said earlier, I've got something that's coming out, a press release regarding January 6 hearings, the Star Chamber sham, and also this narrative of right-wing extremist terrorism being completely overblown, out of proportion. Later this week, I've got a press release coming. People can watch for that. If you Google Joseph M. Leonard every once in a while, you'll see some good stuff coming from me. Last week, I did a press release on the overturning of Roe v. Wade. And before that, I had a piece because suicide prevention is a sub-theme in the book because of PTSD and survivor's guilt and that. So 2 weeks ago, I had a piece out, a press release regarding suicide that all relates back and forth to my things within my book. Because like you said, there's predictions, there's part warning, there's part hope that we can save our nation and make America great again. So there's a whole lot of things going on in this book, Terror Strikes Coming Soon to a City Near You, than just the terrorism thing. And speaking of terrorism, since that's kind of my life right now, since that's the main theme of the book, people may still
It's the main thing of the country too, Joseph. You got to add that in. It's the main part of our country. We're facing domestic terrorism. Folks, we don't have a foreign problem threat right now. Thank God. Right? You think this president would be putting us in World War III already? Surprisingly, we don't have any foreign conflicts right now under this president. Surprisingly. But we do have a war right now going on in this country. It's not a foreign war. It's a domestic, psychological warfare literally going on in this country.
We're recording on the actual 4th of July, and people may not have heard this yet. They may recall the Waukesha, Wisconsin Christmas parade attack. Well, there was an attack in Highland Park, Illinois, which is just 25 miles outside of Chicago. Details are still a bit sketchy. So we don't know if it was just like a gang initiation where a new gang member
you
go out and kill some people as part of your initiation, or if this was indeed an actual terror attack. The details are still a bit sketchy. 6 are dead that we know of right now. Another 24 are injured.
Is the FBI labeling it as an act of terrorism right now, or no?
They have not stated that yet. But,
okay.
I mean, it only happened several hours ago. So we're
I seen that like earlier today, actually. Yeah, this afternoon.
But again, that's part of my warning in my book. Terror strikes coming soon to a city near you. If you live in the suburbs or you live out in the boondocks, I'm sorry. Especially read my Tulsa chapter. It's coming near you. You are not immune. You cannot be an ostrich and have your head buried in the sand.
So you're telling me right now, Joseph, if I live in the city of Atlanta, Georgia, it's coming to my city.
Yep.
If I have friends of mine that live in the country, it's still coming to the country?
Oh, yeah. You definitely want to read my Tulsa chapter because
I'm telling you, folks, this is not just a scare tactic. It's coming for you. It literally is. I mean, I did you see an article coming out a couple weeks ago where they're actually having Mexican cartel gang members, MS-13, in cities. We just had a few groups here in Atlanta about a month ago. I think they kind of caught some of them that they can round up, but we actually had some MS-13 here in Atlanta, Metro Atlanta. Scary.
Yeah, we have them in the Detroit area too.
Yeah.
And remember, the southern border is not just an illegal immigrant issue. It's a national security issue. We have detained and arrested, and a few of them are in Gitmo right now, of people who were on the foreign terrorist watch list. So they are making use of the Brandon open border policy to sneak into this country. So while you said we don't really have much of a foreign threat now, believe me, it's here. It's here. They're here, and soon they'll strike.
Yeah, soon they'll strike.
And like you said,
but you got Joe Biden spending the weekend at Camp David. Did you see that story? He's really not tackling any of our main issues here in the country. He was at Camp David, spending his July 4th weekend after a difficult week, folks. Difficult week. Check this small little clip out, guys.
By Congress, bedeviled by gas prices, and now bruised by the Supreme Court. President Biden this morning retreating from his Washington troubles to Camp David for the holiday weekend after an historic week, one that dealt blow after blow to the president's priorities on climate change, gun violence, and reproductive rights.
This is not over. It's not over.
Mr. Biden struggling to convince Democrats he's doing everything possible to protect abortion access after the high court overturned Roe v. Wade. The president insisting Congress must fix it by legalizing abortion nationwide.
Right now, we don't have the votes in the Senate.
The White House also facing a new threat by Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell to block an economic competitiveness bill that Democrats want to run on in the midterms. And with energy prices soaring, Mr. Biden's climate agenda in peril after the court undermined the EPA's authority to regulate power plants.
This decision is devastating and it is disappointing. But what gives me hope is that this president is undeterred by this.
Democrats hoping for a reset, but bracing instead for a replay with Donald Trump. The New York Times reporting the former president could soon announce he plans to run again in 2024, long before candidates typically jump in the race. But on social media, Trump is also showing concern about political damage from the January 6th committee hearings, after former White House aide Cassidy Hutchinson gave bombshell testimony, some of it now coming under scrutiny after anonymous sources questioned her secondhand account of Trump tussling with Secret Service agents inside his SUV on January 6th.
Exactly. Hutchinson, who I started mentioning before you cut off in that last clip. It's either complete bullshit lies because she wants to become the new Democrat Party, in the in crowd, the latest. Then she'll probably run for Congress too at some point. She wants to.
Here's something right here, Joseph.
He's right.
Yeah. Do you think she could run in 2024? You think she'd be the top contender?
Who? No, well, Hutchinson will run for Congress somewhere, most likely. And she'll be the it girl for the Democrats.
But do you think she could turn it around and just like at the last moment of time and say, you know what? Let's go for president.
No, I don't think she'll have that kind of traction. But that idiot Liz Cheney, I think, is still thinking she'll run as an independent, thinking
I do see a little bit of the water boiling over, so to speak, on Liz Cheney. I do see her possibly running, but running out of spite, as maybe an independent against Trump,
Yeah. She wants to be the pro. Although that's a long story, I don't want to get into that. Pro did not really cost H.W. Bush the election. I've seen all the studies, blah blah blah.
But
blah,
we might even have Kamala Harris as the next president being sworn in. They're saying, Joseph, that Biden is really not healthy. It's all of a delusion, a diversion. Excuse me. They're hiding most of his health patterns. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
well, and there's still Hillary to contend with. I mean, it's still looking more and more. She is so deranged and delusional, and thinks she is owed the presidency that she might run again. Now, I didn't support Trump in the 2016 primary. He was my last choice, but he landed up going on to prove me wrong and was been the greatest president since Reagan, So I'm definitely going to support him if he runs in 2024. And I hope Kristi Noem runs also so she can be his running mate. I know everybody's high on DeSantis, but
I think, they want DeSantis as the running mate for Trump. But, I did see some turmoil come out the last couple of weeks with DeSantis and Trump, in the media where, they agree on a lot of political policy. Mm-hmm. They do. But there is some type of arguments coming out a lot, between DeSantis and Trump.
I wanted to throw one more thing out about Liz Cheney, though.
Yeah, go ahead.
According to the polls, supposedly, Cheney is losing to her GOP primary, challenger. You got to pay attention, though, folks. Again, your vote matters. You got to get out and vote in that primary if you're in Wyoming. Do not believe the polls, because the rhinos will team up with the fascocrats to help her in the primary to win the Republican nomination. Because then if Liz Cheney wins the Republican nomination, a lot of people will stay home, and then they think a Democrat will steal that seat. And even if he doesn't, they don't lose if Liz Cheney wins again, because they've got a friend in her.
Well, Joseph, this is all the same stuff that you're telling me. I was supposed to plug this in about 10 minutes ago. I do apologize, folks. I got caught up on time here. I kind of let Joseph have the floor here. But I happened to be on Joseph, if you caught that show. They're a media group out of Chicago, Illinois. He's out of downtown Chicago. I was on Rip Views Media of Chicago. And they're very... the one person I was speaking to was actually liberal as shit. I did not support nothing on the right. But this gentleman doesn't support the right or the left. I guess you can call him like a progressive independent, maybe. But this is what he had to say, and this is exactly how I was basically rebuttaling against the conversation. We'll put an audio clip in here, guys. Check this out.
This podcast, we will give headlines to two people from polar opposite sides of the aisle. And that's the beauty of Rip Views. We should always understand that all media is biased, but still respectfully listen to both sides. There are two sides to every story, and Rip Views will show you both.
All right, guys. Basically, I'll plug in a little bit more of it, but that was basically... a little bit of Rip Views. You got to listen to more of this crap. We'll basically, there it is right here.
About it seems odd though, because we're talking about guns. Even if we ban guns, they're still going to be available. Okay, even if we ban abortion, that's still going to be available. The Supreme Court is on the one hand ruling that states' rights apply to abortion, but not to gun rights, as we just found out with a case in New York. And yet the court itself imposes a form of gun control by saying that that guns are not allowed in courts and certain government buildings, which seems, well, if the argument is, well, the more people that have guns, the better, the safer, then why not allow them in government buildings and in courts? Obviously, we need to do something about
It gets broken down to our branches of government possibly not doing enough. Is there more dividedness in political parties today between the left and the right? Absolutely. We're more divided now than ever before on a lot of political agendas. Should we screen out individuals every year? Absolutely. Maybe every 6 months, however they want to come up with an agenda. Sure, I agree with that. But I also agree that the mental illness should not have access to any type of weapons.
I don't know if you heard a little bit of pieces of that. I was playing an audio clip off of his podcast episode, which I happened to be on the very first episode of Rip Views Media there in Chicago. Thank you very much, Rip Views, for that pilot episode. It was a really good damn episode. I really suggest you guys tune out to that episode. It got a little heated in the end. I will explain that one part. But you know what? I'm not going to have a liberal, Joseph, tell me that we're not fair to mental illness. They should have access to the Second Amendment too. I don't know. Somebody has a mental illness and they come down with a fucking semi-automatic, and I don't know. You trust their judgment, Joseph?
Yeah, well, the issue is the devil's in the detail about red flag laws, and we all know every law the Democrats pass sounds reasonable at the start, but then they abuse it. They bend it, They break it, they twist it. But I want to debunk one thing this idiot said to you about there was a contradiction in the courts. No, there was not. They ruled states' rights for Roe v. Wade because...
Oh, you're talking about the abortion shit that he was talking earlier before, right? Yeah.
Well, abortion and guns. He said there was a contradiction. No, there isn't. There's no such thing as a right to abortion in the Constitution, period. So it's a states' rights issue. He said, but then they didn't allow states' rights on the gun issue. Well, that's because there's a Second Amendment, you buffoon.
Yeah. Dr. Savage of the Michael Savage podcast, a hat tip you off to you, sir. You label it so correct on your show. Liberalism is a mental disorder, Joseph. Literally it is. It is, because you see how these idiots act. They have no knowledge of, I understand, guys. I don't know everything about everything. I'll admit that.
None of us do.
None of us do. But when you try to one-up somebody on somebody's show against somebody else that's a podcast such as myself, come at with me with a little bit of accurate information so it doesn't make you look like a jackass on your own show. This guy's talking about how towards the end of it, which I'll try to plug in a little bit into the before we leave. He's trying to tell me that there's more than two genders. Oh yeah. There's more than two genders. I said, what?
Oh, Lord.
I said, please explain this to me. I'd love to understand. There's a male and a female. What's the third gender? Oh, if you're transsexual, that's the third.
Yeah, no.
I felt like playing the fucking Jeopardy music. I mean, literally. How the hell are these people? This is what's wrong, Joseph. You have people that are explaining this to just individuals, mainly children, other people that are not so educated, thinking And they actually believe these people too. Oh, really? There's a third gender? And sex isn't always determined at birth? What? Oh, it says it on my birth certificate, you jackass, that I'm a male. Now all of a sudden, I can change my sex that was determined at birth. That doctor looked at me and said, excuse me, and I'm going to get a little unfiltered, guys, because my show is unfiltered. I have a dick, so that means I'm a man. If you have a vagina, a boop, boop, like that part I won't say. You're a woman. How hard is that to figure out?
And yet they say we, people like me and you, are anti-science. No. It's, again, psychological projection. They are anti-science. There is XX and XY chromosome combinations, and anything else is a deviant defect. It's defect.
Yeah.
You have to be one or the other. That's all there is since the beginning of time till the end of time.
Joseph, you got to listen to this jackass here. I'll plug a little bit more into this. This is the liberalism of the mental disorders that you see here in America, guys. I'm going to show it to you plain and simple because the mainstream and Facebook are, he's being unfair. They don't act like this. And they do. I have proof. Look, here it is right here.
Okay, I'm going to be PG on this, okay? You either are born with a penis or a vagina, okay? If you can't tell...
That's not always true either, though.
Okay, I have...
There are medical conditions that...
I understand that there's deformity and everything else, but deformity does not create a new body part on any individual. Deformity is entirely different. It does not create and establish a new body part on a human.
This is what I'm explaining to them. Listen to more of this, guys.
It does impact gender.
But it's deformity. It's a lot different. It does not establish a gender. Establishes deformity. Deformity does not establish gender.
Right, but gender is a social construct, is the point.
I understand that, though, but gender represents either male or female. That's the gender.
That's sex.
Gender is the same thing. Sex and
it's
and
not
gender.
the same thing, now. That's what I'm saying.
They twist the language. This is, again, another example of them twisting language into pretzels because they feel a certain way. And if
this is the same guy that's
my truth.
Yeah, Joseph, he's telling me, and I don't mean to yell because I'm a little heated up on this, but this is the jackass that was on Rip Views. This isn't the gentleman that's the host of Rip Views Media. He was a guest that
clarified.
Yeah, he was the guest on. You can actually look him up. It's through Coop Save America podcast. He's very well known across Spotify. But this is the gentleman that said that deformity at birth can all of a sudden establish a new gender. What?
Well, it's the extension of the moronic theory of evolution. Here saying all of a sudden we've evolved to have other genders. And you went the right route with him, and you absolutely laid him to waste. And you could see
he was literally I had him at the end of the battlefield.
Yeah, he was fumbling. His feelings matter, damn it, Michael.
Oh, you seen it. Yeah, you seen the feelings come out on the show. And listen, guys, I'm not a bully. I'm not I'm not the big kid in the rec yard of the prison or something like that where, I'm going to, hey, man, you got your cornbread. I want your No, I'm not like that. I'm just telling you, like, you're going to tell me that, you can all of a sudden say that you don't feel like being a female and then all of a sudden establish yourself as a man? You could say that to the end of the week. You're still a man, dude. Or you're still a woman. You know what I mean, Joseph?
Yeah. You know, I'm going to say something that's going to maybe make some people look at me a little funny, but I'm going to say this anyway. Do you know who Blair White is?
I've heard of, a little bit, yeah.
He is a transvestite. And let me tell you.
Well, we have to say transsexual. We can't, go ahead. I don't care. Go ahead. Say transvestite. Well, that's what they are, you know.
But if you look at Blair White, and she stars in the Tom McDonald Snowflakes video, and you look at this person, and you are going to say, that's a gorgeous woman. Yeah. You're going to think that's a woman. But she was born a man. So do I believe there can't be an occasional oddball exception that someone really earnestly believes they were born in the wrong body, like a Blair White? I think she's great. She's conservative. She doesn't adhere to the pronoun bullshit, which is why she's in the Tom McDonald Snowflake video. You got to see her flipping the camera when he's talking about pronouns. But the problem is most of this is not about tolerance and acceptance anymore. It's about another term I coined, gaytivism. It's pedophilia and gaytivism. They want to recruit people into their lifestyle because you're not born into it. You're not born gay. I'm sorry. It doesn't work that way. At least in my opinion. I'll add that. In my opinion, could I be wrong on that? Yeah, but the percentages are so small if that is indeed true. They are trying to expand their ranks through gaytivism now. It's no longer about just tolerance and acceptance.
And Joseph, this is the same crap that I tried to explain it to, another liberal, on Tommy Nation, almost a month ago. About a month ago. Yeah, it has been a month now. I've told him, grooming children is wrong. You're changing their mindsets. They don't know what to believe. Their brains are like sponges, man. You tell them that the sky is green when it's blue, or like you explained to me that the sky is actually, I think it was you, that the sky is black. Yes. It's really not blue.
Sky is black.
Yeah.
The natural state of the sky is empty space, which is black. It only looks blue because of the reflection of the sunlight off of all the water on the planet. So if somebody asks you what color is the sky, the scientific answer is actually black.
But I mean, you get the memo. You're explaining to these kids, that dressing up like a woman is okay. Hey, to each his own.
They're looking to fit in. They don't know where they belong.
It's a broken society. It's a broken society. You heard the social media influencer there, John, in that one video that you were on my show, and he was saying, what's going to happen in 5 years when the Democratic Party wants to rape your children? Literally. I mean, seriously. I don't want to sound dark or anything, but I mean, literally. It's all fun and games to them. What's going to be happening then when it goes into an extreme level? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They want to put an axe quote in front of your children's legs. Yeah. I mean, that's literally what's going on, Joseph.
Yeah, it's the slippery slope. And we've warned about this forever. I was against gay marriage, and I have friends who are gay. And I have no problem with them. They have no problem with me. Their gayness is between them and God. All right? I accept them for what they say. They are trans, and pedophilia is a whole other subject, though. But it's the slippery slope we've been warning about for decades. So I opposed gay marriage. I agreed and would supported civil unions. And that's another issue that should be a states' rights issue.
But when you push that shit on somebody and you throw it down somebody's throat and you say, you need to accept this. No, buddy, I don't have to accept any of that garbage.
Exactly.
That's what makes this country great. I don't need to accept your movement. I don't need to accept your views. I don't need to accept any of that shit.
Yeah.
And that works for you. You don't have to accept my views or opinions at all. That's what makes America.
That's a free speech issue, too. Free speech is one thing. I have the right to tune you out and not listen. And you don't have the right to compel me to speak to you as if you are a they, if that's your preferred pronoun. I don't have to acknowledge and accept your delusion. And remember,
well, that's what Tommy Nation was getting upset because I had Pedro Horta on there, the CIA agent, and he was getting all bent out of shape, and he was like, "You got this former CIA guy, and he's got the Trump stuff in the background and the MAGA." I was like, "Listen, buddy, what does that have to do with it?" Well, he's CIA. He can't show a side. I was like, dude, he's a retired CIA agent. He can show his support to any political figure he desires.
Yeah.
You know?
But I want to go back to the marriage thing again. It's not in the Constitution, so it's a states' right issue also. And remember, even the state of California, Prop 8, voted to uphold traditional marriage.
Yeah.
And which is why they went through the liberal activist courts to peddle gay marriage and force it upon all the states. That's why I call them fascocrats. They want
and some of that shit came through the Obama administration, Joseph. Yep. I'm very aware of that. Yeah.
Yep. But when they can't win legislatively, they do through liberal activist courts. They are not constitutional. It's going to give Liz Cheney and her nonsense about you can't be for Trump and the Constitution at the same time. She's out of her mind. She's the one
she's a
not
nut
feeling.
Job.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's a nut job. She's on the same side of Nancy Pelosi and the rest of the radical squad there in Washington. They I don't know.
Although I do want to go back one thing. You played the clip from John Voight about impeachment. I wrote an article on that too.
Yeah, what's your views on that? I was about to ask you that.
Yeah.
Good thing you kind of caught my What's your views on that? He wants to have, or he's calling for an impeachment of Joe Biden. But but hold on. The mainstream, if you do see like some parts where CNN actually, this was through Sky News. I love Sky News. They're not biased. They call it as it is. CNN actually had the same thing. And CNN was like, John Voight is calling on the impeachment of Joe Biden, but he's really not going into detail on why he should be impeached. I don't know, Joseph. Why do you think? Why do you think he feels that way?
Here's my take on it, and you could go to tinyurl.com/JLD articles and see all my articles. I have an article on impeachment, and if you want to do the tit for tat thing once we take control of the House, sure, we can impeach him in the House. Well, it'd be a complete waste of time because the U.S. Senate is not going to remove him. Just as they were never going to remove Trump, Bill Clinton wasn't removed, Richard Nixon wouldn't have been removed had he not resigned. So
even if he didn't resign, you think they would not remove Nixon?
I do not think there would have been the 2/3 votes in the U.S. Senate, even with the Democrat control of the Senate then, to remove Nixon. I don't think it would have happened because I don't think it made it to the elevation of a removal, a need for removal. I mean, it was a low-level break-in, and he stupidly helped, indeed engage in a bit of the cover-up, which is, they often say the cover-up is sometimes worse than the crime. Well, Watergate was that. But
yeah, I mean, he was a founder of Watergate, yeah.
Look at what Obama did. He turned the IRS, the FBI, and the DOJ on conservatives. He did far more. Him and Hillary spied on
the Clinton Foundation. Campaign. Yeah, I mean, that goes back to the Clinton Foundation of the early 90s. I mean, it's been a mess, Joseph.
They did far more than ever happened in Watergate. Yeah. They used the levers of government to spy on a candidate. That is highly illegal and
But you can't say that on CNN because CNN says, "Oh, it never happened, folks. It never happened."
Right.
Of course they did. The Obama administration was spying on Trump weeks into he was into the White House. They had wiretaps on the damn effing phones. You know?
Yep.
They were spying on people that were not cabinet members, but they were actually spying into, let's go back a little further. When he was running as president, the Obama administration was tapping into Trump Tower there in Lower Manhattan.
Yeah,
it's all there in plain sight. But the media, the Democratic Party, Nancy Pelosi, all of them, they were like, no, it never happened. It never happened. Sure it did. There's proof. There's evidence, you know?
Yeah, but Nixon, I can't think of his name, G. Gordon Liddy and them, that was all a low-level break-in at the party level. They didn't use the FBI. They didn't use the CIA against their enemies.
Yeah.
The Obamas and the Clintons and the Bidens did and still do today. Now that is a major constitutional crisis. Watergate was not. But of course,
well, it's a violation of our Constitution. Big time.
Everything is through the left-wing liberal biased media. Anything a Republican does has got to be blown out of proportion, and the crimes literally committed by corrupt Democrats are always swept under the rug.
Yeah, swept under the rug. Yep. Yeah, and it's going to continue to happen, you know, and sadly, I don't know. At the end of the day, do you want to ask yourself, are we better as a constitutional republic, or should we, have a special election and change our whole way of life here for the country and enact in a parliamentary system?
I would say no. Parliamentary systems are a disaster. That you could try to overthrow the president or the chancellor at the drop of a hat. Do we need maybe other parties to become a little more respectable and have a little more power so that the Congress itself is a little
But that's
bit
not going to
more-
happen, Joseph. That's not gonna happen. Yeah.
But that would be beneficial for the House of Representatives so that you would have to make coalitions. But to officially become a parliamentary system, I would, hell no. It would destroy this country as bad as what the fascocrats are already trying to do.
Joseph would be taking up an offer from Elon Musk and colonizing Mars there.
There you go.
I'll be the next president of the planet there. There you go. You know? Joseph, it's been an honor, buddy. I'm going to close it out. I want to say this one message here. I hope, guys, that you look at this holiday not as a, get drunk and have fun with your friends and, make companies like Walmart and Amazon and all them super rich for buying fireworks and beer and all that other hot dogs and stuff. It's not about all that. It's about having fun. Yeah, don't get me wrong. But it's also really looking at what your country is all about. Truly honoring the freedoms and liberties that we have here. Even though we are somewhat of a broken nation and a divided nation, which we are, we do still have hope in the end, Joseph. I think we do.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you said that, and I want to expound a little because I've been posting all weekend on social media about this. A little less fireworks, maybe. Don't eliminate them. Celebrate, but maybe a little less fireworks and a little more great works of kindness. Please go to terrorstrikes.info/charity. It's about freedom, yes, but also responsibility. Our personal responsibility as Christians to be our brother's keeper and not in the idiotic sense the Democrats want to twist those words. But it's our personal responsibility to look out for one another. So, yes, have your hot dogs and your burgers, but please, terrorstrikes.info/charity. also give time, effort, and money to those in our nation that are hurting, who need a real hand up, not the left-wing loons who want permanent handouts.
Right. That doesn't solve a damn thing. Guys, if you want more information, like you said, you can follow Joseph there on his website. He's actually on social media, Instagram, as well as you're still on Facebook, right? Correct, Joseph?
I'm under an alias on Facebook, but yeah, I'm on mainly Twitter, Instagram, Parler, Getter, Spreely, MeWe, all those. My handle on most of social media is J. Leonard Detroit. Again, you've shown my name a few times. People should know by now there's no O in Leonard. J for Joseph, Leonard Detroit. I would expect you all know how to spell Detroit. So J. Leonard Detroit on Twitter and all the social media accounts. Feel free to follow me. I'll follow you back.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Joseph, thank you very much. It's always an honor having you on the show, buddy.
Appreciate you having me, brother. I really do appreciate it.
Yeah, and guys, head over to Amazon and get that book. It's still available. Terror Strikes, coming to a city near you.
Yeah, let me give your listeners a discount opportunity, because I want you to have an autographed copy of the book. So if you go to terrorstrikes.info/buy, at the checkout, use discount code DISCOUNTME. DISCONTME, all uppercase, and you'll get 10% off the list price, free shipping on an autographed book that I'll personally send you. Not something you'll get from Amazon, Books A Million, or Barnes & Noble.
Wow. That's some good stuff, Joseph.
Yeah, because why wouldn't you want an autographed copy, right?
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's some good. That's some good. I mean, Joseph laying out the discounts for you guys. Head over there to Amazon, get the discount, guys. We're also going to put it in the show notes here on Spotify. If you view the Spotify description there on the bottom, it's also on Amazon Music as well as Audible and Apple Music. Podcast platforms. Hit up the description there. It will be a direct link that goes right to his book. Get that discount, that promo code in there. Guys, get the book. I have the book. Joseph, phenomenal, I have to say. Phenomenal.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And I
Look,
know
guys,
you're not
I gotta close it out.
Smoke.
Oh, I'm not blowing smoke. I'm telling you. I come from the heart. It's a phenomenal book. I mean, I hope to see more books coming out through your through your demeanor, your name, So Joseph, like I said, gotta go, buddy. Joseph M. Leonard, guys, the author of Terror Strikes, coming to a city near you. I'm out of breath here. I gotta go. All right, buddy. Take it easy.